is magnificent.
Got a fantasy question? Email fantasybaseball@cbsi.com. Get ready to win your league.
Where fantasy becomes reality.
Now here's Frank, Scott, Chris, and Adam.
Yo, let's answer some questions. Welcome into our weekly YouTube live stream Q&A extravaganza. That was a lot of words. Frank Stanfield joined by Chris Towers. Chris, it is very hot outside, and you told me that you just got home from being outside. So congratulations on making it through the heat, because I think it's 95 degrees outside in New York.
Yeah, it's hot, man. I know it's hotter in other parts of the country, but I don't have a car. I had to go to the Apple store to fix my phone, and it's like 2 miles away. So I did a little bike ride, and yeah, I'm pretty sweaty, man.
We enjoy it.
Probably I might be glistening a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I like it. You look like the wrestlers. You know how they go in the back and they just like pour a bunch of oil all over themselves, and then they come out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you.
That's actually what I do every day before the podcast.
Yeah.
I just drizzle vegetable oil on myself.
Yeah. Stone Cold Chris Towers. That's what the cool kids call you. All right. So we're going to answer some questions. Throw those in there. Make sure you smash the like. We are also going to get you some updates on some games that we've got going on right now. My New York Yankees, who are quite bad nowadays, are going up against the Angels. So that game is getting ready to start. I saw Kyle Freeland was throwing a little Jimmy Gem for the Colorado Rockies, and then he pulled his hamstring while running the bases. So if anything crazy happens, we will get you updated on that. But before we do all of that and answer your questions, Chris, I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
So on my most coveted fantasy baseball team, the one that has the most money riding on it, NFBC League, I'm not going to say how much it's worth, but it's a lot. I have Trevor Story and Shohei Ohtani on my team. When I saw that they were both in the home run derby together, I got kind of nervous. Is that a real thing? Should you worry about if your players are in the home run derby? Are they more likely to slump in the second half of the season? The four players that have already accepted the invite to the home run derby: Shohei Ohtani, Pete Alonso, Trey Mancini, and Trevor Story. What do you think, Chris?
So here's how it works historically. Players who play in the home run derby or participate in the home run derby do tend to perform worse on average than players who don't. Or that's not true. Sorry. Players who participate in the home run derby perform worse on average in the second half of the season than they did in the first half. It's fairly well documented. I'm not the first person to note this. I'm not the first person to say this. It's intuitive, and I think we all understand that. I think that's the general assumption. And there have been some really high profile examples. I remember Bobby Abreu in like 2005 or 2006. Had this amazing home run derby, had like 23 homers before the All-Star break. I think it might have been a career high in homers before the All-Star break or something. Put on a huge show in the All-Star game or the home run derby, and then hit like 8 home runs in the second half. And that's one of like the key. Oh, wow, look at this. The post home run derby slump is real. The thing is, if you get invited to the home run derby, chances are you've hit a lot of home runs in the first half of the season. Typically more than you would normally. And so what usually happens is that there's just regression to the mean. I can't say that there's not something to it. Some hitters have talked about, it messes with your timing or messes with your swing. I can't say that that's not real. But generally speaking, players who participate in the home run derby, although they do perform worse in the second half, it's usually they perform like they usually do. They regress to their mean. And so like Vladimir Guerrero, maybe this is a hot take, but I don't think it should be. I think he'll be worse in the second half than he has been so far. Because right now he's having one of the best hitter seasons of the last 40 years, probably.
Yeah, he's on pace for like 55 home runs.
Yeah, like maybe he'll keep doing this, and maybe this is his, 2015 Bryce Harper or whatever that big season was. Maybe he's just, the next best hitter in baseball. But I think I'll take the under on 1127 OPS, and he's not participating in the home run derby. So like these things, there's a bit of a selection bias there. There's a bit of we remember these things, or these players were having such a notable season before the home run derby that they stick in our minds. But I can't say I'm particularly worried. Like, who's accepted an invitation already?
Ohtani, Story, Trey Mancini, and Pete Alonso.
So Ohtani is actually the only one of those four who's having a career year. Story, famously, his home runs have been down. Mancini, he's been, really good, but he hasn't been as good as he was in 2019. And Alonso, same. So I would guess of those four, Alonso, Mancini, and Story, they'll probably all be better after the home run derby. That would be my guess. That's
what I was about to say. I'm like, look, it can only go up for Trevor Story, right? What if this sparks his power for the second half?
Right. So I wouldn't be. It is not. If you're trying to sell someone who's in the home run derby, it's someone like Ohtani, who is amazing and I think should be the American League MVP if voting happened right now. But like Vladimir Guerrero, I think he's probably not a 1031 OPS guy moving forward. I think there's going to be some regression, but it's not because of the home run derby. These guys are doing batting practice every day. They're trying to hit home runs in batting practice too.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it at all. Also, Shohei Ohtani leads the American League in triples.
He's ridiculous, man. You've made me feel a little bit better, I've got to say, Chris. So hopefully you're right. And honestly, I kind of talked myself into that whole Trevor Story thing. Maybe this actually sparks his power for the second half of the season, assuming he isn't traded, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's answer some questions. This one's from Matthew Pittman. Juan Soto and Luis Castillo for Dansby Swanson and Liam Hendricks. That's a no-brainer to take, right?
Yeah, you're getting the two most valuable players in the deal.
Is
that a hot take?
If it's
Castillo versus Hendricks, I guess depends on your team's build.
If it's a 5x5 roto, Hendricks probably has more value than Castillo, but like Juan Soto is far and away the best player in this deal. So yes, you should take it. That is a no-brainer. Let's see what else we've got here. From Jacob, Federer was offered JD, let's assume Martinez, and Luis Garcia, let's assume him, not Leori Garcia, for Garrett Cole. Should I get off the Cole train? JD Martinez and Luis Garcia for Garrett Cole.
I think I would still rather have Cole, but I don't think it's a bad trade.
That seems like a fair trade.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think Garcia, as good as he's been so far this season, it's sort of out of nowhere in a way that like the bottom could fall out at any point. And as it's gone, we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but it's gone a little under the radar, the fact that JD Martinez hasn't been that great.
I pointed it out since May 1st, he's got an OPS under 800, Chris.
Yeah, that's what I was about to look up. He's at 902 overall, but yes, 764 OPS since the start of May. 21 homers, 76 RBI pace in that time. So, yeah, strikeouts are up. I don't think I would do that, no.
I have to think Luis Garcia is probably going to be on an innings limit at some point, too. They have Christian Javier in the bullpen, so maybe they swap those guys. I think it's probably going to happen. Luis Garcia has been awesome, though. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
This next one's from Tyler McLaughlin. My first two picks this year were Mookie Betts and Adalberto Mondesi. How do you compete in a league when your first two picks are ghosts?
It's hard. I mean, I'm in one league where my first two picks, I'm trying to remember who would have been my first two picks. I think it was Bryce Harper, who's been good, but certainly not, first round caliber player. And I think Anthony Rendon might have been my third, and Brandon Woodruff must have been my second. No, this was a salary cap league. Either way, you get the point. Those are my three like top 25-ish players. And Rendon's been a disaster. Harper's been good, but not great, struggling with injuries.
Yeah.
Woodruff has been amazing, one of the best pitchers in baseball, but I'm in sixth place in this league. It's a roto league, and my hitting is awful. I have 18 hitting points in this league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I think with Betts in particular, he's going to be fine. Like everything we said about Juan Soto last week, how he the underlying numbers look fine and you should bet on him figuring it out. I think it's pretty much all the same for Mookie Betts. Like I'm so not worried about Mookie Betts that I haven't really even looked into it. Just because like we've seen ups and downs from him over the past few years, but I just don't think there's any reason to think a 28-year-old Mookie Betts won't be Mookie Betts moving forward.
Yeah, his quality of contact is down this year, and his expected numbers according to Cast are also down. So, look, I would still bet on him being better than a 248 batting average and an 823 OPS rest of season. So, if you can use this as an opportunity to buy low, but I imagine most people feel that same way about Mookie Betts. As for Adalberto Mondesi, I think probably the most frustrating hitter this season to draft. If you play in a categories league, you probably used either a second or third round pick on him. And when he's been healthy for, I believe it's like 9 or 10 games that he's played, he's been really good, but it just hasn't been that much. So it's definitely tough. I think that I hope that you're playing in a league where you have unlimited IL spots, because that obviously gives you the flexibility to add players, but you kind of just have to ride the hot hand with a bunch of players until those guys start to come around. Or if you could still get full Mookie Betts value for him, something that I've done in the past when I'm really struggling and I still have that name with star power, I will try to flip him for 2 pieces to try and like create depth on my team. Like 2
the key there players. Though, you have to get Mookie Betts value, because the only way you are not going to win your league if Mookie Betts slumps for the first half and then you trade Mookie Betts low. That's just, there's no world in which that is a winning combination. You either hold on to Mookie Betts and he plays like Mookie Betts moving forward, which I think is the most likely outcome, or you trade Mookie Betts for a Mookie Betts like what's funny?
Chris, we have baseball updates. Shohei Ohtani's first at bat in Yankee Stadium this year. That is a home run to right center field.
I mean,
especially
it's an easy place. It's an easy place to hit home runs. It probably wasn't even that impressive.
I mean, 26 home runs now for Ohtani. And while we're on that topic, the Nationals open up their game with back-to-back home runs from Kyle Schwarber, who now has 23, and Trey Turner, who it's 13th. That comes off of Jared Eichhoff, who, all right, whatever. It's Jared Eichhoff. Let's answer some more questions because we have a lot of them. This one's from Zeke Sam. Ryan McMahon on Colorado seems to have less playing time and stats. Worryometer, what's going on? So I was watching the Rockies game before, and they were talking about a forearm injury that he's kind of playing through right now. So I think that is a big reason for why he's slumping. In June, he's batting .215 with a 711 OPS. So definitely not what we're expecting. The strikeout rate is at 42% for Ryan McMahon in June. So Worryometer 5, 6.
I mean, the bigger problem might be that the slump started in May. He only hit 245 with a 788 OPS in the month of May. I wonder if he's just kind of turned back into a pumpkin. His numbers against lefties are pretty ugly. I don't know. It's concerning because I really did think like, hey, maybe Ryan McMahon's figuring this thing out in April, and now feel less sure about it. But with the injury, that especially shouldn't make you feel good.
I wouldn't drop him yet. I keep him on the bench for now because we saw what his upside could be. But yeah, I mean, we mentioned the strikeout rate. His ground balls are also way up, 47%. And that's exactly what we said earlier in the season, is that he's hitting more fly balls. He's making more contact. This is what a Ryan McMahon breakout would look like. And now he's kind of reverting. So keep him on your bench for now. I would not drop him yet. This one's from Jamie Campbell. Would you trade Wander Franco for Anthony Rendon in a redraft league? Rendu or Rendon't?
Yeah, you should definitely. You would much rather have Rendon than Wander Franco. I know Rendon hasn't been great and the underlying numbers aren't exactly elite, but this is just bet on the track record. As good as Wander Franco is as a prospect, as good as he's been in the minors, Anthony, like, this is very much a Wander Franco could be anything. He could even be Anthony Rendon. Like, if Wander Franco hits like Anthony Rendon for the next 5 years, like what Anthony Rendon has done the last 5 years, that would be a really, really, really good outcome for Wander Franco. So yeah, you'd rather have Rendon.
Well, the Yankees are now losing 2-0. Michael King, in case you didn't know, he's not very good. Jared Walsh, an RBI double. Drives in who? Anthony Rendon. Take the trade. All right, this next one's from Scott Pigsley. Is Jeff McNeil worth having on your bench? Injuries and poor production all year. I have him in a few roto leagues. Those are deeper lineups. So middle infielder, 5 outfielders. I have not dropped him. I've kept him on my team all year. He is on my bench this week. I benched him for Jonathan Daza, who actually has 2 hits today and an RBI. So I would hold on to him. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, the difference between him and DJ LeMahieu may not be that great. The fact, look,
Chris, you're kind of freezing up on me here. If you can back out and then jump back in.
Neil's batting.
Jump out and jump back in if you can, Chris, because you're lagging up a little bit. And we will take a few more of your questions. Of course, Scotty White is going to join us around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Get you a few more updates on these games. Smash that like button if you haven't yet. Last week, you guys saved my job. Thank you so much. We got to 100 likes before the video ended, the live stream. And we are currently at, let's see where we're at. We have 24 likes. Let's get that number up. Let's get to 100 by the end of this live stream. Let's take a few more of your questions while we wait for Chris Towers to jump back in. This one's from Sarcastic and Fun. Alex Kirilloff, Ryan Mountcastle, or Joey Votto for first base rest of season. Man, I do like me some Alex Kirilloff, but Ryan Mountcastle is far and away the hottest player of these 3 first basemen. So I would ride the hot hand. I would go with Ryan Mountcastle for now. And Chris, you're back. Who would you take between Alex Kirilloff, Ryan Mountcastle, and Joey Votto rest of season?
I think Mountcastle is ranked highest for me.
Yeah, and it is a head-to-head points league, so not the best format for Mountcastle, though the strikeouts have come down a little bit in the month of June. He's just having a huge month. Votto, the underlying numbers are very good. Plate discipline is good for points leagues, but he hasn't done what his expected numbers say he should be doing. So yeah. I would ride the hot hand and go with Ryan Mountcastle for now. Hey, guys, made a quick decision and decided to stream Caleb Smith for tomorrow. Good idea.
Who's he going up against? It's the
Cardinals, I believe.
Yeah, I don't hate that. The Cardinals offense, I think they're second or third to the bottom in the NL in runs scored, which is kind of amazing after adding Nolan Arenado. That team just has not been very good. So, Caleb Smith, he's a risky pitcher because he's a fly ball pitcher who has iffy command, but he could absolutely go out and give you 5 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts.
For the record, the St. Louis Cardinals have the worst weighted on base average in the month of June. So they are slumping hard. And against left-handed pitching, they are 18th in WOBA. So yeah, I'm all right streaming Caleb Smith in that spot. This next one's from Cody Haydorn. Should I trade Anthony Rendon for Max Muncy?
I think that's okay. I think, my assumption is Rendon will be better moving forward, but Max Muncy's been so good this season that I'm not, exactly opposed to getting him.
If it's a points league, I would definitely do it. If it's Roto, I think I would stick with Anthony Rendon, especially once Mike Trout gets back in that lineup. That's going to be a really good lineup. This one's from Luis Grau. What pitchers should ideally be targeted if you're trying to get Sandy Alcantara in a points league? What pitchers should ideally be traded? Sorry, I said targeted. Should be traded if you're trying to get Sandy Alcantara in a points league. I believe Sandy.
These are always tough questions to answer.
Yeah. Sandy is top 20. Sandy Alcantara is top 20 for all 3 of us in our rankings.
I mean, just volume alone. He leads the majors in innings pitched right now. He leads the majors in batters faced. He's going consistently deep into games. He's got a 3.12 ERA. You look at the last 2 seasons, 24 starts, 148 innings, and a 3.09 ERA. He's been awesome. I think he's a top 20 pitcher moving forward. And you should probably be like, one that comes to mind that I think would be a really interesting one would be like Freddie Peralta. Freddie Peralta has been awesome this season, but he's a more volatile player than Sandy Alcantara is. And so if you wanted to do that in a points league, I think there could be value in that, although the RP eligibility does make things a little more difficult.
Yeah, I was thinking of someone that's maybe ranked a little bit lower who we can try and sell high on, but it's not the most realistic. Like you say, Kikuchi comes to mind. He's been awesome. Not that I think you should try and sell high on him. I think he's just really good. But obviously, if you could do something like that. But Sandy's been great all season. So I don't know why that fantasy manager would take that. Blake Snell, if you
Frank,
just do it based on value, I don't think it's.
Here's a question. I'm trying to put together a trade offer to go get Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts, I would get Mookie Betts and Kyle Hendricks. This is an offer I'm going to put out there. What do you think the chances are that it gets accepted? Mookie Betts and Kyle Hendricks for Corbin Burns and Ryan McMahon.
10%.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think you need that second piece to be better than Ryan McMahon.
Yeah,
but Corbin Burns, now might be the time to try and see what you could get for him. Let's keep on moving here. Dynasty was offered Jesus Luzardo for Sean Manaea.
I would rather have Luzardo in a Dynasty league.
I agree. Yeah.
But that's looking to the future. Like Manaea is a better player right now.
Yeah. I think it's kind of team context, right? Like if you're competing this year, you might just want to keep Sean Manaea. But for the future, I think Jesus Luzardo is the guy. This one is also from Zeke Sam. Is Daza worth picking up? Jonathan Daza. I think 5 outfielder leagues, if you need batting average, like he's not going to give you much more than that. But what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, no, that there is value in someone who can give you batting average specialist numbers. Like that's important in a league where nobody hits for average right now.
I'm being told that we have a superstar who's trying to join the party here. And there he is, Scotty Dubs. What's up, Scott? We were complaining about how hot it is in New York today, but I assume you feel that every day of your life in Florida.
It's always the same in South Florida.
Yeah.
Is it raining or not? That's really all you have to consider.
That's the thing is people are like, oh, don't you miss the weather in South Florida? And it's like, so like as miserable as I am now, right now, when it's, 88 degrees and super humid and feels like it's 98. It's like that from March through October in Miami. So, at least at some point it'll change.
Yes.
And it gets cool at night here. Does not do that in South Florida.
I don't know. I prefer it. I prefer it.
Gross.
I grew up in suburban Atlanta. It wasn't cold that much of the year, but it was cold enough that I could deal with not having cold ever again.
Scott is spoiled. He likes the warm weather.
Yes, I do.
Let's keep going. We've got a lot of questions here. Chris, if you want to hang out, feel free. If you want to jump off
for a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it. This one is from Austin, 6x6, 12-team, 3 outfield roto. How would you rank Nate Lowe, Josh Rojas, Dylan Carlson, Nico Horner?
I would rank them.
Rojas is last. Rojas is last for me. I think
I was thinking I was gonna make Rojas first.
No. I think
he's just so versatile.
Yeah. Okay. I wish he was running more. That's the biggest thing. Because I thought he was going to be a stolen base source, and he's only got 3 of them.
Nate Lowe randomly has like a handful of steals this year, too. That just comes with playing for the Texas Rangers because they run so much. Not that I'm expecting much of that, but...
I haven't checked in on Carlson in a while. Is he still stuck on like 4 home runs or something?
I believe so, and he's not...
7.
All right.
And 0 stolen bases.
Yeah, not running. Yep, I whiffed on that one.
I think Rojas is my favorite here, and I
think if Horner was healthy, he would be my favorite.
He's going on a rehab assignment this week, so could be back soon. I think Rojas is the one. It kind of depends what you need. Like Rojas gives you a little power and speed. Nate Lowe, if you just need a little bit more power. If you just need speed, maybe some batting average. I think Nico Horner. So those are the top 3, and then I think I would put Dylan Carlson last. Is the lowest ranked droppable for any of Votto, Josh Bell, McCutchen, Ty France, Akil Baddoo, Brendan Rodgers? A lot of names there.
Rodgers. I think would be my favorite out of that whole group. And
I would consider France up there too.
yeah, I think Rogers, Baду, France. I think those are all at least in the discussion for being better than anyone in that group.
I would say, personally, my favorite 4 of the first group and the second group are all in the second group. It's France, Rogers, Votto, and McCutcheon. For me, I think I put them all ahead of Josh Rojas.
Yeah.
Unless you need the versatility.
What is the 6th category? If it's on base percentage, I think Badu benefits even more.
Yeah. We don't have the 6th category, but yeah.
Nate Lowe only has 10 home runs.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising, given how hot he was to start the season.
The whole Rangers lineup has really kind of slowed down. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those names are interchangeable. Rojas, I might keep over McCutcheon, but
yeah,
it's kind of like a ride the hot hand thing, and McCutcheon's hot now, so I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, this next one's 4 home runs in his last 54 games.
This next was from Jonah, currently 7-5, kind of scraping out wins in a 12-team points league. Should I ship out Jose Abreu or Christian Yelich for guys that are doing well now? Christian Yelich is kind of coming around. I mentioned this on today's podcast. Last 2 weeks, he's batting .285 with 2 homers and a steal. So it's better. It's still not Christian Yelich numbers. And now Abreu is banged up with this knee injury. What do you think? Would you guys consider selling low just to kind of get someone that can help you win now? Because these guys aren't really doing that.
I mean, 12-team points league is so shallow that I'm wondering if the kind of player you'd be acquiring when you're selling low on Abreu and or Yelich is even going to be a difference maker in a format that shallow, you know? Like, at least they could become that. Obviously, it just depends what the offers are, but I think you'd be. I don't think it would be worth your while.
Okay, yeah, that's on Abreu and Yelich. Again, it's another one where do you try and trade for someone who's hot right now? I don't know. I think you're not going to get anything close to fair value for either of Jose Abreu or Christian Yelich. So ride it out for now. This next was from Taha. Haha. How would you rank Mike Moustakas, Wade Jr.? Is that Lamont Wade Jr.? I think so. Mike Moustakas, Lamont Wade Jr., Joey Votto, Ty France, JP Crawford or Brandon Crawford? I don't know.
First names are important, people. Everyone forgets the first name.
Give us, I'll go JP Crawford and Brendan Rodgers because it's more likely that JP Crawford is available. So maybe give me your 1 or 2 favorites from that group.
Rodgers, Franz, and Votto, just like I said on the last question.
All right. This next was from Peter Choi. Julio Arias or Trevor Rogers, rest of season?
Rogers.
What do you think, Chris?
I think Arias, just because I have fewer questions about his innings. But the Marlins haven't exactly said that they're going to, limit his innings. So I'm not sure yet.
I will go with, I think it's less likely that Julio Arias gets shut down. So I will go with him. From Kostra, plain pizza or cheese pizza? It's obviously plain pizza. I was just eating it before we started the stream. Good old Chris Towers got to eat my dinner. So
I don't understand the question.
I think it's an argument Frank and I had on one of the podcasts.
Is it like a semantic argument?
What do you call this type of pizza? Do you call it a cheese pizza? Of course you do.
Because you're from Florida. You're not a real New Yorker yet. But as you graduate to in New Yorkdom, and you will start to call it a plain pizza, Chris. I have all the confidence in the world.
New York dumb.
You're not wrong. All right, this one's from Jamie Campbell. Was offered Anthony Rendon and Dylan Cease for Wander Franco and Yusei Kikuchi in a Roto redraft league. Kikuchi is my 7th best SP, and I already have a log jam at shortstop with Lindor and Correa. Rendu or Rendon?
Redraft offered Rendon and Cease for Franco Kikuchi.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, I prefer
think-
the hitter and I prefer the pitcher.
Yeah, I might prefer Kikuchi to Cease, but it's close enough that it's easily yes.
Yeah, I would take the trade, though I do think I have Yusei Kikuchi ranked higher than Dylan Cease at this point. Kikuchi, man, he is on quite a run. This was from Andres. Have Matt Olson, Pete Alonso, and Carlos Santana on my team. I want to trade a first baseman to get an outfielder, and I'm definitely keeping Olson. Who should I keep for the long run, Alonso or Santana in a 10-team points league? I think Pete Alonso will probably fetch you more just because his name is Pete Alonso, right? So,
Does the long run mean rest of season? This isn't like a keeper scenario, right? So we're not worried about age.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd rather shop Alonso for the reasons you mentioned. Santana's always sneaky good in those points leagues.
Yeah. Do it. Shop Pete Alonso. Again, from Taha. How would you rank these starting pitchers? Alek Manoah, Tarek Skubal, Logan Gilbert, and Tony Gonsolin.
Who should I put first?
Skubal, Gonsolin, Manoah, Gilbert, I think.
I'm going to put Manoah at the back of this group. Actually.
I thought about that, yeah.
And I think I'm going to put Gonsolin on the front. I was really encouraged by his last outing. So I'll go Gonsolin, Skubal, Gilbert, Manoah.
I definitely have Skubal number one. Kind of wrestling with the G's here because I want to put Logan Gilbert second. This looked much better. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go Skubal, Gilbert, Gonsolin, Manoah in that order. But those last three are actually pretty close for me. And Tarek Skubal, I think, is the head of the pack for me. This one is from Thomas. Traded Corbin Burns and Giancarlo Stanton the day before his last start for Juan Soto and Herman. I'll assume Domingo Herman. Betting on Soto, power coming back, and Herman was just a side piece. What do you guys think? Corbin Burns and Stanton for Soto and Herman. That's in a 12-team league.
I don't think it's a buy low, but I think it's fine.
Yeah. C+.
C+, so a slight win there on the grade.
I'm gonna drop now. I'm gonna go get some food.
Do it.
All this pizza talk.
See ya. Get some plain pizza.
Go get some plain pizza. That's right.
All right. I'll just get just some bread. Just some very flat bread is what I'll get. A plain pizza. See you guys.
See you later, Chris. Way to
the crust. There was a kind of like pizza they served at our school cafeteria that like wasn't actually like it didn't have sauce on it. It's basically just like cheesy garlic bread, but they passed it off as pizza.
Sounds good though. I'm down for some cheesy garlic bread.
It was fine. It irritated me that that's what they call. See that you could almost call that plain pizza. I feel like.
No, because every plain pizza has sauce on it too.
Well. According to your definition, yes.
By definition, has to have
the uninitiated. It would not be clear.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out one day. This one's from Michael. Michael Conforto, rest of season predictions. He's an impending free agent, so hoping he turns it around. I saw earlier today, I think in 3 games since returning, he's like 0 for 10. So that's not great.
Yeah, our latest. What do we call that piece that we do on Sundays where we all?
I think that's like a round table panel discussion.
Yeah. So we were picking bounce back candidates for the second half at each position. And I noticed Chris and I both picked Michael Conforto. His underlying numbers basically look like they always do. So I suspect he'll be about a 275 hitter and a 25-30 homer pace the rest of the way.
Man, a lot going on in baseball right now. We had some games start at 7 o'clock and Garrett Richards is getting ripped. It's the second inning. He's losing 4-1. Carlos Santana, who we were just talking about, hit a 3-run home run off of Garrett Richards. And the other happenings, we have the Tigers and Cleveland. Matt Manning getting destroyed. He's losing 5-1. It's the second inning. Yikes. Kind of saw that coming because he wasn't getting a lot of whiffs. So, I don't know. Pitching over his head to this point.
Yeah.
Manning has. All right, this one's from Luke. When do I go for it this year in Dynasty? My plan was 22-23, but I'm in second at the halfway point. Do I start playing for this year?
Well, I don't know that you have to do anything to be playing for this year if you're in second already. Like,
Yeah, your team sounds pretty good.
there's this misconception in dynasty leagues that you either have to be all in or all out. And I've told you before, Frank, my approach in a dynasty league is to always play for next year. And if you're always playing for next year, pretty soon this year is going to catch up to next year. It makes sense in my head. I'm not sure if it does to you, but like,
It makes sense.
yeah. So, I'm not. You don't need to sell off all your future assets. If there's a hole that you need filled, maybe you could give up something for it. But like, you don't have to completely give up on the long-term plan just because you're already competing.
Yeah. Don't sell the farm just to win this year. But if something comes across that's a fair trade, then yeah, look into doing it. This one is also from Michael. Should I sell Zach Gallen after a promising start? Worried that he might have elbow issues throughout the season. What do you think, Scott?
I am trying to do that in a long-term league. Actually. Short-term league, I think it probably makes even more sense. But yeah, I'm not, because he actually had a small tear in his UCL, just like we're all freaked out about with Tyler Glass now. I suspect just from the words being used, terminology being used, that Glass now is a little worse. But I don't think Gallen's totally out of the woods here.
Yeah, I think it's something you should look into doing with Zach Gallen. It's pretty scary. This one's from Anthony Fedora. It's kind of a fun question. If you could have one player from the 1980s through the 1990s on your current fantasy baseball team the rest of the season, who would it be, Scott? So someone from the 80s or 90s.
I mean, would have to be Barry Bonds, right? Or I guess Ricky Henderson, there's an argument for. I mean, Bonds didn't become his best. At 2001, he set the record, the single season record for home runs, and was kind of on a different level after that. But obviously, he was historically great even before that. Mm-hmm. So I think it would probably be between those two, Bonds and Henderson. Henderson would obviously give you unparalleled steals totals. I think those are the only two candidates, really.
Ricky Henderson and Roto, Barry Bonds and points. How about that?
Works for me.
Barry Bonds used to steal bases too, though.
Well, and Henderson, a great walker, great at drawing walks. So, yeah, it could go either way.
This one's from Thomas. Should I drop Jake Odorizzi for Kyle Muller? Maybe Muller has more staying power in the rotation than Odorizzi does once the Astros rotation is fully healthy.
Odorizzi for Muller. Yeah, I would. No, I would not agree with that. I think Muller has much more to prove. I think the Astros signed Odorizzi to be in their rotation. They already kicked Christian Javier out of the rotation to get Odorizzi in it. So I think I would definitely go Odorizzi over Muller.
Smash that like button if you can. We got about 20 minutes left. We want to get to 100 likes by the end of this video. We currently have 51. And
Frank is fired.
Or Scott is fired this time.
No, nobody told me that.
Well, I'm telling you right now. That's why we need 100 likes. And someone put a thumbs down. Boo you. That's what I say. Boo you. Whoever did that.
Boo.
Come on.
You're fired. Whoever did that.
We'll answer your question. Let us know in the comments. But come on. Turn that frown upside down. All right. This one is from Jays. Would you offer Wilson Contreras and Alek Manoah for Perez in an 8-team dynasty league? Who is Perez?
8-team dynasty league.
I'm going to assume it's Salvador Perez, I guess.
Yeah. 8 teams, sure. Why not? It's hard to ascribe future value to anybody. In an 8-team league, there's just incredible turnover. Why put any value on tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I hope it's not Martin Perez. I'm currently looking up all the Perezes to make sure. Yeah, it's got to be Salvador Perez. He's 31 years old in a dynasty league. I don't know. It's only 8 teams, but obviously you want to consolidate your talent in a league like that. This one is from the Grand Pooba. Head-to-head points, 10-team. Should I trade Rodon, afraid of an innings limit? Currently have John Means, Jack Flaherty, and Sale on the IL. If so, what is a reasonable price? We all have Carlos Rodon ranked inside of our top 20 starting pitchers. So in a head-to-head points league, I'd be looking for at least a top 15-ish outfielder.
But the thing is, we have them only ranked where that high. The reason we don't have him ranked higher is because we're accounting for the fear of an innings limit, right? If there was no concern there, he'd be in the top 12.
Yeah, probably.
So you probably need to go for like a second round type talent for him, I would think.
So
Make it-
like a Nick Castellanos or JD Martinez?
Actually, JD Martinez has been pretty bad since April.
He has, yeah.
And maybe it's just a slump, but I'd feel more confident with Castellanos. I'm not really sure how to evaluate Martinez at this point.
Would you rather do it for Aaron Judge? Or
Nah, I think I'd still go Martinez, but I might go Winker over Martinez at this point.
All right. This one's from Danny. Ketel Marte will be sitting. Hope he comes back soon. He was placed on the IL. We'll talk about that more on tonight's podcast. But who would you start? Abraham Toro or Zach McKinstry? Slim Pickens.
Toro.
Abraham
Good matchups.
Toro.
Bet more confidence in the playing time.
These are always open-ended questions that are a little bit tougher to answer, but what can I trade Corbin Burns for? It's kind of similar to Rodon. We can just kind of speculate.
Yeah.
But we still have him ranked inside of our top 10 starting pitchers. So whatever's fair for that, a top 5 hitter at another position, a top.
I'm not really sure how far to move Cole, Bauer, and Burns down right now. Those are the 3 we were focused on in this morning's podcast. They're all in my top 10, but right now I still currently have Cole second. I know I probably need to move him down some.
But who are you going to put him behind? Scott, because I was touching on my rankings today, and it's like, are you going to move Cole behind Darvish and Max Scherzer? I guess
I think so. I think I might move him behind Woodruff too.
But Woodruff, isn't he kind of one of the guys that has seen a big drop in spin rate as well? It hasn't been reflected in his numbers, obviously, but.
I mean, pretty much all of this group has, right?
Yeah.
Who hasn't? That's in the top 10. I don't think Gosman has, but he's borderline top 10. I don't think Kershaw has, again, borderline top 10. Rodon hasn't, interestingly enough, but we don't want to put him in our top 10 because of innings concerns. I don't think Wheeler has. Has Wheeler lost anything?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it's with Cole, Bauer, and Burns, there is a loss of effectiveness that corresponds with the drop in spin rate. And so that's why I'm really fixated on those 3.
Corbin Burns for Bryce Harper. You think that happens right now if you send that trade out?
It probably would. Yeah. I don't know that I'd want to do it.
If you were
I don't know that I'd want to give up Burns for Harper.
Okay. So
I don't think it's crazy. I just I'm not wild about it.
Yeah. Would you try and trade him? Like if you're just trying to trade for another pitcher, would you feel okay trading Burns for Wheeler? I don't know. Say that you can make that happen. Would you do that?
Yeah, I already have Wheeler ahead of Burns, and that's without examining this further.
All right, let's scroll down. Let's see what else we got. This one's from Robert. Is Miguel Rojas worth trading for Johnny Cueto in a 20-team Roto League? I think
sure.
It's pretty fair. Like Johnny Cueto's not exciting, but neither is Rojas. Rojas gives you batting average. Maybe he chips in a few steals, but not much more than that. I think it's fair for both sides.
Yeah, just depends what you need more.
This one's from Matthew, trading away Dansby Swanson and Liam Hendricks for... Oh, we answered this one already. Luis Castillo and Juan Soto. Yeah, right? If you're getting Castillo and Soto?
Easy.
All right, where are we at? I got to scroll back up, man. There's a lot of questions. All right, we got to answer all these. Let's see what we got. A lot of coming in from the same people. This one's from Danny, 12-team Roto Keeper. Need saves, currently tied for first. I was offered Diaz and Melanson. I assume that's Edwin Diaz and Mark Melanson for Dylan Cease. I currently have Jordan Romano and Raisel Iglesias. Yeah, I mean, if that's Edwin Diaz and Mark Melanson, like those are 2 premier closers for like a top 40, top 30 starting pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suspect you have a lot of other good starting pitchers if you're tied for first. So I think that's a perfectly fine sacrifice.
Someone asked a football question. I think they're at the wrong stream.
I think so.
I'm scrolling through. I'm trying to find some questions that we haven't answered yet.
I would need to brush up on my football knowledge for sure. It's been a while.
This one's from Aaron. Love the show. Well, we love you, Aaron. 10-team head-to-head points league. Grade the trade. Cattell Marte and Denelson Lamet, who are both now on the IL, for Drew Smiley and Teoscar Hernandez.
I mean, Smiley's valueless. So
Yes.
no, this trade doesn't make sense. I would rather wait it out with Cattell Marte than.
Well, I mean, Denelson Lamet could be valueless for the rest of the season too, Scott. I mean,
Right. So let's just leave the pitchers out of it. Cattell Marte, who's on,
Yeah.
Did you say he's on the IL or?
Yeah, Cattell Marte on the IL with a hamstring injury for Teoscar Hernandez, who's having a very good year, actually.
I mean, you're going to get a week of recovery free with the All-Star break, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd rather just wait out Cattell Marte, especially in a league as shallow as 10 teams.
Yeah, in a points league, too. That is his better format, too. All right, Scott, you talked me into it. This one's from Logan. What pitcher would you try to get for Joe Adell in a Dynasty league to win now? Okay, it's kind of a loaded question, as always.
I mean, the value of prospects greatly varies from Dynasty League to Dynasty League based on the setup, based on whether you're basically keeping them for free or at a severe discount, or if it's on equal terms with all the major leaguers. But even in the latter scenario where prospects would have less value, they tend to be overvalued just because they're prospects and it's a Dynasty League. So you should aim pretty high. I think probably like, I don't know, like Joe Musgrove or higher. At least like a Max Fried type.
So like a top 30 starting pitcher, basically.
Yeah.
How about Framber Valdez? Would you do it for Framber Valdez?
It's borderline. It really comes down to, again, I don't have enough information to answer this with a great deal of conviction.
Yeah.
But, Framber Valdez you can trust will be good rest of season, I think. So.
Yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a little surprised you haven't moved him up further so far, Scott. I know you liked Framber Valdez coming into the season. He's pitched well. So.
Let me, I don't know who I need to move him ahead of to satisfy you, Frank.
Yeah, satisfy my rankings needs here, Scott. And before that, let's answer EJ's question. I tweeted at Frank, but he ignored. I'm sorry. Scott probably gets a lot more questions than I do per day, but there are a lot. So I do apologize if I don't ever get to your question. Grade the trade. Mookie Betts and Max Scherzer for Trey Mancini and Garrett Cole.
That's
that's big time.
B+, A- maybe.
A-. I like it. Big fan. I think the Yankees tied the game up, Scott. Would you like to know how?
Not really.
I kind of do.
All right, tell me.
Gio Urshela, his 10th home run of the season.
Okay. I'm a Gio fan.
A Gio fan. Dylan Bundy continues his just awful season for Dylan Bundy. All right, this one's for Robert. 20-team Roto. Keep one of Evan Longoria, Freddie Galvis, or Michael Fulmer, who are all on the IL. I have 3 IL spots with Jack Flaherty and Mark Canha on there already. 20-team Roto, Scott.
Keep one of them. I'd keep Longoria.
That's where I was going to. So, yes, take Longoria. From Cody. When is Jarren Duran coming?
Any day.
Any day.
Any day.
I hope so.
If the Olympics start and he's not here yet, I might worry that it's not any day anymore. But for now, I'm saying any day.
This was from Bobby. Grade the trade. 12-team head-to-head 6x6 categories. 2-man keepers. Quality start league. And the 6th category is OPS. My Rafael Devers, Corbin Burns, and Brian Reynolds for his Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker, and Tyler Mahle.
Okay. Devers, Burns, and Reynolds getting Soto. That's the best player. Tucker and Tyler Mahle. That's pretty close.
That seems like a very fair trade.
Yeah. 2-man keeper. that really puts a premium on getting the very best players possible. So, I mean, of the 6 players here, Soto is the only one that's going in the first round. And I think the only one who's for sure going in the second round next year. So he's the only probably keepable one, or at least someone you'd be excited to keep of these 6 in a 12-team 2-keeper league. So, yeah, I would say take the deal. For a grade, I'll give it a B-.
It's either B- or C+. I think it's a slight win. It is close though. And I don't know, Scott, I think Rafael Devers is a surefire second round pick for next year. And I think
I was actually before this before whatever this thing is called started, I was putting together my first 2 rounds for the rest of this season, which isn't quite the same as the first 2 rounds for the next of this season, but Devers is looking I haven't incorporated the pitchers yet. Devers is looking very fringy for round 2 for me.
All right. Looking forward to it. Actually, we have a bonus pod coming up for next week because it's July 4th. So maybe we'll do that. We'll redraft the top 2 rounds for the rest of the season. This one's from Alan. Freddie Peralta or Lucas Giolito rest of season?
Giolito.
All right. From Taha, how would you rank these prospects in rest of season? Let's assume it's redraft. Jared Kelenic, Wander Franco, Vidal Brujan, Jarren Duran.
I think you got to go Franco just because he's up and playing. Then you go Kelenic, and then you go Duran. I'll go Duran ahead of Brujan.
This one's from Cody. Love the new couches, Scott.
Thanks.
How do they feel though, Scott? I mean, we need like a couch test. I want a video of you like rolling around on your couch, and maybe like your kid or your wife.
I think they feel great. They're still a little firm because there's and there's one seat in particular where the back is firmer than the other. So I try to avoid that one. I don't know. My wife isn't totally sold yet. I'll keep passing along the positive feedback to her. I won the couch face off in the store, so I may never live it down. She didn't get her wish. I got mine. So that's dangerous. Dangerous waters for old Scotty boy.
Yes, you are living in some dangerous territory right now, Scott. This one's from Sanjay. Grade the trade. 14-team head-to-head 12x12 categories league. I traded Fernando Tatis when his shoulder injury happened, plus Conforto for Jose Ramirez and Teoscar Hernandez. How do y'all feel about it? At the time. So, yeah, I mean, this must have been in like, mid to late April?
I mean, at the time.
Tatis and Conforto for Jose Ramirez and Teoscar Hernandez?
I saw somebody make a ridiculous trade with Tatis at the time.
This is still, even now, this is not, I don't think this is an awful trade.
Right. Yeah. Even now, I'm assessing it, and it's like 14 teams, a league that deep to give up that kind of excess with Conforto and Hernandez. Like that would be tough to do, even getting Tatis. But I do think I would prefer Tatis, but it's close. At the time when we were thinking Tatis might be out for the season, I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly what the trade was, but somebody in the industry tweeted that he traded Tatis for some really scrubby shortstop. I haven't seen a follow-up tweet from him, but obviously that did not pay off. And I thought he was overreacting at the time, but yeah, no, you did good.
And I do apologize to anyone who took my advice. I kind of ate my hat. I started a podcast like biting my hat, but I was worried. Admittedly, I was worried and I got it wrong. Like I am very cautious when it comes to injuries to early round players. And man, I thought the worst immediately for Fernando Tatis. So that's a learning lesson for me. So hopefully you guys did not take my advice and trade him for less than you should have. But Fernando Tatis, the guy is absolutely ridiculous. This one's from Carl. Jazz Chisholm, Kevin Biggio, Keston Hiura, or Luis Arias in a points league to fill in while Ketel Marte is out.
I would go Chisholm for sure. Though Biggio has looked better, and Hiura might, keep an eye on Hiura.
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm has slowed down tremendously since returning from his IL. So I do wonder if it was a hamstring injury. I wonder if it's kind of lingering at this point, but he did show a ton of upside earlier on in the season. So hopefully he can get back to that level. This one's from Robert. Shane McClanahan or Tarek Skubal rest of season? Man,
Skubal.
I updated my rankings today, and I think I have these guys back to back. But who did I move ahead of who? And it is Shane McClanahan.
Oh, man.
Starting pitchers. Scott, I'm just all about it, man.
Well, we all like McClanahan. We do. He's down to third in swinging strike rate if he were eligible. He dropped behind teammate Tyler Glass now.
He stinks.
After this latest start. So he's ahead of Skubal in the swinging strike rate. But we've seen more tangible success from Skubal. So I'll go Skubal.
All right. This one's from Robert again. Tyler Malley or Tarek Skubal?
Malley.
Malley with the spin rates down as well, who we just talked about on this morning's podcast. So
I think Skubal's spin rates are down too, right?
I know they were a couple of starts ago. I didn't actually see if they were down on Sunday, but I'll check it out while you are answering this question. How do you rank these in Dynasty? Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Fernando Tatis. That is a loaded group.
Yeah, these are like 4 of my first 5 picks, and then that rest of season draft I'm doing. The way I rank them there is Acuna, Vlad, Tatis, and Soto. But this is a slightly different question. I mean, the reason I have Tatis third is because of concerns about that shoulder injury popping up again, which may be still in the discussion next year. I don't know. I think I would go. It's splitting hairs. I almost want to put Vlad and Soto ahead of the 2 base stealers because base stealers usually don't steal bases forever. You know, if they're also like this caliber of hitter. So I mean, so much of Acuna and Tatis's value is tied to their steals that I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if as Acuna slows down, his power increases, if that makes sense.
I mean, maybe. I mean, none of them are in their prime ages yet, so it's possible any of their power could tick up more. Though I don't know that that's a great bet. And I do feel confident saying Tatis and Acuna will not still be 30 steal guys once they reach like Mike Trout's age. But that's looking way ahead too.
Yeah,
it's splitting hairs, man. I don't know what to tell you. At the risk of. I'll just say Acuna, Tatis, Vlad, Soto.
I was going to say
just to give you an answer, but
Acuna, Tatis, Soto, Vlad. That's the order that I would go in.
Okay.
For Tarek Skubal on Sunday, his 4-seam fastball spin rate was down 115 RPM, so that's down a bit. It's nothing crazy. His slider was down 100 RPM, so a little bit for Tarek Skubal on Sunday. This was from Michael. Will Michael Kopech ever be a, quote, traditional starting pitcher this year?
Well, ever is a different question than this year, but I think you're asking about this year. I don't know. I mean, they don't really need him to be right now. Obviously, he's injured right now, but if he weren't, they wouldn't need him in the rotation right now. If somebody did get hurt, as many innings as he's saved, I think there's a good chance he does move into the rotation. So I'll bet yes that he at some point moves into the rotation and takes several turns in a row this year.
But it's going to take an injury. I think like if everyone's healthy, they're Kopech's probably not going to get an opportunity to be a starting pitcher this season. This one's from Eric, looking to trade Freddie Peralta for an outfielder in a roto league as I have decent pitching depth, but limited pop in my lineup. Who should I be targeting? And I kind of think similar to Carlos Rodon, you're probably targeting a similar outfielder for someone like Freddie Peralta, the way that he's pitched this year. So if you need pop, I mean, I mentioned Nick Castellanos earlier. I think Aaron Judge is probably in that conversation. Cody Bellinger. What do you think, Scott? Those 3 names, would you ship out your Freddie Peralta for all of them?
Probably. Yeah, I think he would have. You should expect to get less for Peralta than you would for like Rodon, for instance. So I'd look more in like the 3rd round range.
So would you do it for Jesse Winker?
Yeah.
would you do it for Yordan Alvarez?
Yeah, I would. Depending how motivated I was to move Peralta, like,
Yeah.
it might be that Peralta is such an integral part of your pitching staff that you can't afford to give him up without getting another pitcher, in which case you may just have to hope for the best with Peralta. So I don't think these are automatic trades, but if you're looking to trade Peralta for an outfielder, yeah, I think those moves make sense.
All right, we're only going to take a few more questions, then we're going to get out of here because we got to study up for tonight's podcast. This one's from Duncan, 12-team head-to-head points. I have Alex Kirilloff at first. Would you drop him for Jonathan India, Jeff McNeil, or Keston Hiura? I have DJ LeMahieu to move over to first. So, yeah, either way, I guess a second baseman or a first baseman. Would you drop Kirilloff for any of those names, Scott?
In a points league, I think India is the player I want most of the four.
Even more than Jeff McNeil?
Yeah, I think so. But that could change very quickly.
This one's from Anthony. In a points league, would you rather start Max Stassi or own Domingo Germán, Shane McClanahan, Zach Thompson, or Michael Pineda?
I don't
really understand.
Totally get what he's asking. I would prefer to have McClanahan over Stassi or any of the other pitchers.
Yes, I agree with that. What else we have here? From the thrill of the hunt, rest of season, Luis Castillo or Robbie Ray? Pros and cons of each going forward. Man, this is another one where I think I put these guys like back to back in my rankings today.
Uh-huh.
But I believe I put Robbie Ray one spot ahead of Luis Castillo.
Yeah, I think I still kind of prefer Ray.
Yeah, I have Robbie Ray SP30, Castillo SP31. Though Castillo has been much better in the month of June. Strikeouts are up, ground balls are back up.
Well, the thing is the strikeouts aren't up that much.
Well, the swinging strike rate is right around 14%, which
the swinging strike rate is great.
Yeah, it's down a little bit from where it was in years past, but 14% is still really good. So,
pros and the biggest pro for Castillo is he's durable.
I think his upside is still higher than Robbie Ray. We've seen that before.
I think the upside's similar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which I think is more likely to crash. I mean, Castillo, 2 of his 3 months have been that, basically, but he has a much more, Robbie Ray has a lot of crashing in his history. So,
yeah,
it's really close.
I do think Robbie Ray is probably more likely to crash, right? Because we've just had a larger sample size of Luis Castillo pitching at an elite level, more than we do for Robbie Ray. So, man, that is close. But I still have Robbie Ray ahead of Castillo. Your final answer, Scott. Ray or Castillo?
Ray.
All right. Scotty says Robbie Ray. Where do we get on the like? 70. Well, Scott, I guess you don't have to do the podcast later on tonight because you're out of here, buddy.
Ridiculous. This was not part of my contract.
All right, give us one last push for the likes here. Get us
30
to
likes right now.
30 likes in 10 seconds before we
like.
That's right. Anything else going on here in the Yankees game? No. 2-2. Anything else? Nationals are up 3-0 right now. Cleveland's still winning 5-2. The Royals are winning 5-2. Daz Cameron just lined out. I started him in a league this week. Oh, well, that stinks. Bobby Dahlbeck hit a home run. Whit Merrifield hit a home run. There you go. Royals. All they needed to see was Garrett Richards. We're going to wrap up. For Scott, I am Frank. Thank you all for watching this live stream Q&A. We're going to be back here again next Monday. Well, actually, maybe not because it's July 5th. We're going to talk about it amongst ourselves and figure out if we're going to be back here next Monday. But we will for sure be here later on to do tonight's podcast. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.